Hello and welcome back to Railroads Online. So today we are here going to be expanding out the railroad. We are back here at the depot start. It was suggested that we do have other places in the map where we can deliver some of the wood product that we do have to, that we do already have access to. Excuse me. So what I'm trying to say. So why not? We can go down that road and go deliver some stuff without having to dredge all the way out to the coal mine just yet. We really don't have the big locomotive or a ton of rolling stock, and rather than just continuing to run just hopper cars, we have plenty of other places that we can run out to. So we will do that. Kind of cool, just flying overhead, taking a look at things you never got to see when we never used to fly around, I think all told, we could actually try to sneak some raw iron in here. Can't get the coal in there, but we could go for raw iron and lumber, or we have that. We need everything that comes out of here. Yeah, why not? Let's just start with, we'll start here. Alright, so we have plenty of trees to get out of the way. A lot of things in the docks here. Got to clean up the building a bit. Just be a different way to go. Change things up a bit. Kind of the plan for today. Have a nice sunny day in the game at this point, so we'll use it to lay some track. Alright, removing all the trees here just to make life a little easier. We're definitely going to clear these back. Alright, at least this should give us something to work with without having to be in the trees all the time. I have to say, the ability to fly, even when it comes to just cutting down trees, makes life so much easier than it used to be. It used to be you really were out in the wilderness, and just figuring out where you were at half the time was the battle. You'd be out here cutting down trees just to leave you a path to get back to where you came from. Let's be honest. It was a whole different game back then. The map looks very different from down here than it does from above. There is no doubt about that. Alright, getting to where we have at least room now everywhere to move, to think, to see. Got a good idea. Alright, there we go. Now let's grab some track and throw this in quick. Jump up in the air. We'll look for our link. Should get good links here on both ends, I would think. Yeah, we are gonna get that. Always more trees. Not always. Eventually you get them all, but it can take you a minute. Alright. There. Again, this is a case of not really knowing how we want to bring everything in the long run in and out of here. So we'll just build in a ton of options is what we'll do. That way, we can do it however we want to in the long run. Yeah, I think we're going to go that route this time. Be a little bit different, but we'll try it. Nice thing is we have a fair amount of flat ground here to work with. And trees nowadays we can put back, so we're just not going to worry about it. Blow stuff out, get it out of our way, and then if we put in new different trees, we know there are trees instead of the map trees. And then we'll throw this side in quick. If we can grab... Oh, wait. Give it. And somewhere in there. There we go. Good deal. Oh, we can go up. Take a look at... Alright, that side is longer. And that side we already have. Okay. Of course, the thing is, do we want to put holding out here is the other thing. Let's go with... If you do that, then you're just going to end up with too many switches. So, no, we're not going to do that. Let's not do that. Let's do this. No, we don't like that. It's too like... I mean, we could totally actually measure this and do it right, I suppose. Go. Just need it to be straight. Somewhere in that neighborhood. This isn't really going to do what I want it to do anyway, because it's not. But it'll give us a good idea where we need to be. Should have just ran it over from there, because then it would have actually been straight. This isn't going to do what I wanted it to do anyway. We're just going to end up eyeballing it. Which, whatever. Well, didn't even stick it down. Alright, good enough. We don't need things to be perfect. That's never been the idea. That would be a horrible process to start now. So, let's not do that. Let's not start doing that. And I think we'll keep the switches on the inside. Now, let's see how far off are we. That's not horrible. We can deal with that. Alright, and then we will bring this across. Let's grab more than 10 at a time for sure. And probably somewhere in that neighborhood-ish. What do we think? I feel like that's not enough. Let's try this and see what. Just not getting great links today. Way off. Way off. Whoa. Whoa. That's not good. Alright, let's go down to the world. And we'll get rid of that. Is it really going to be that tight? That was way off. So we're going to have to be somewhere. Well, let's see what 33 does. Is this just because they're trying to use the straight inside? So if we go 31 and 31, maybe we actually get like somewhat of an even split. Where I think if we'd have probably turned the inside, we probably could have got away with a better turn here. We'll see what we get. This is not going to be like a high traffic rail, so that's not that big a deal. This is going to be more of like, you know, a rare turnaround scenario. Pretty darn close. I think we'll just take the auto snap there and call it good. We rang it out to keep it as even as possible on both sides. It should be alright, I would think, in there. Alright, so let's blow some of this out. Obviously we can take that off of that side, that off of that side. Gonna do the same kind of down on this end. I think this side is longer. Try to work with the longer side first, I guess. Not that it much matters. We already know these are super tight. This one, the turn gonna have to be on the outside just because of where everything's at. We also don't have a ton of room on this end, so what it is, these are even, right? Yeah, so it's gonna have to be, yeah, should be 31. Same. This one we will go like that. Boom, boom. And then we should have to go 31 in the other direction. Sweet. And that should get really close. Huh. For some reason, not the same. Let's do something like, oh, you know why? Because they're not even. Never mind. I know what the deal is. Because this is actually shorter than that. Right, how is that actually going to line up? Yeah, see, that's the problem. And then it's not going to be... We gotta do something better with that than that. Yeah, that'll work. Good enough. It's either put the little piece in there or put the little piece in over there to make up for it. Because it isn't going to bend all at one consistent. It's just not going to line up like that because they're not even. So, good enough. Get rid of you and you. Alright, in there, that gives us plenty of outs that way. Depending on how we want to go, we probably will head down that way at some point. It gives us plenty of alternatives this way. So let's see, how do we want to do this? Somewhere in here. We're just gonna freehand it, so we can go whichever direction we want to go with this switch. We will go this way. And again, we're just gonna freehand the thing out here somewhere. Good enough. That's our target. Get you and everything else out of here. That gives us plenty of room to do all kinds of things. We are going to worry about other places later. We've put in plenty of options now to do things with if we need to make adjustments, so we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to run these. Full on, cover some ground. Nice and quick. Oh, I don't know if this is actually going to work auto snap wise. Let's check it out. What do we get? Alright, it's clear that track. That's all it had to clear. So, once that happens, we are good for tree removal. The rest of this we should be able to lay in quite a bit of track here pretty fast. Nowadays, if all works well anyway. Cool. There. Snap. Now if we get lucky, we bend around the track there. I don't know if we will get lucky. Oh, we'll see there. So that's pretty ugly. We're not going to keep that. That's just... no. That's ugly. Alright, so we'll come in. We'll grab this. We'll kind of just start it in said direction. And then we will auto snap it from there. Should take care of itself if we can figure out where we're snapping it to. And now let's see how bad of bends we get where. Get rid of the trees. Alright, good. That turn is pretty decent. Alright, so we just had to give it a little something better to work with than hooking back on itself. And there we go. Decent enough. Everything should run in and out of there at speed with no problem, I would think. We certainly will find that out. Alright, get rid of some of this so we can see when we come in. Alright, looking good. Not too bad. That should work. We will have to go off in that direction, but again, not going to worry about that for today. Hopefully we can get this going, get it all run. Oh, you know what? Let's just pull that out. Fly. I know that we want to be out. We want to be out a bit. We don't want to turn around and get this in too close so that we end up having to turn away with the hill. I like how the trees every now and then just totally mess with. But too far. Can we get the track back? Alright, we'll do that, and then we'll come down. That's going to give us half a forest to cut down. Not really, but we'll have plenty to cut down, so we'll try to just limit more towards what's on the rail, and we'll worry about widening it out later. Even with these big trees, it's amazing how easy it is to miss one or two that are going to grab your train. It does happen. Can't count how many times, actually. I know a lot of people, a lot of times, I've said it myself, would be cool if when we, like, you know, when you snapped a spline in, if you had the option to just have it remove trees or not, but then that's a whole thing. So tree cutting just part of the game, you know, at the end of the day, what it is. Some work does go into building your railroads, no doubt about it. There is a certain amount of work that you're going to put into it, certain amount of loads. There is some effort involved. Not just even with all the advancements that we've gotten along the way, it is far easier now, but you do still have, you know, a good amount of work in there. Alright, looks like we will be making our turn here then coming up. We are going to just try to keep it into the auto track laying mode, free, whatever it is. I don't know whether you want to call it freehand mode, wing it mode, auto spline laying mode. Alright, we are going to try to stay clear of that hill over there. Just going to keep everything nice and flat where possible. Alright, let's go look at where we need to be. We actually need to be, okay, so we can do something like this, and then now we're probably up way too high for the link. Alright, and we will just kind of run this one out straight-ish. Alright, so then we'll do something like that. And here we're going to just throw in a switch. Come on. Give it up. There we go. That we're not necessarily going to hook in, but we know we'll use it at some point. And maybe not there, but if anything, we'll keep it there for reference purposes, because that's going to go to the depot, so that's not for a different industry or anything else. That is going to be to the depot. What we're going to do with it after the depot, I'm not totally sure yet. So okay, cut away there. Wow. Hey, all the way down. Get the switch onto the main. We will drop. Well, you know what? Maybe we'll just run it. Who knows? We won't even worry about putting anything on there for now. Let's just make our connection. Which we know is somewhere in here. Bam. Okay. That'll go to there. You know what? Let's just make the other connection over here. We'll make it. Nowadays, honestly, they're that easy to do and that easy to get rid of. that you might as well, you know, trial and error. Like the old days where it used to be, you know, you put in 8 hours worth of work, you didn't necessarily want to delete something just like that. But nowadays, there you go, whoop-de-doo. Even if we get rid of it, we didn't really do much, so not that big a deal. We will be cutting some trees out, but we'd be cutting those out anyway, so not too big a thing. And I know it's going to go to the depot, so that part's probably fine. It's about what it's going to do after the depot. Who knows? That's the question. Let's get rid of that. A lot of trees. Like the black pinewood forest. Alright, getting out of here. Whoa. That was interesting because it seemed to come out of a tree that was standing. Alright, that's clear to there. That's clear to there. We still have tons more trees, obviously, to get rid of. Says we could have just left this one overgrown for now and opened it up someday when we actually go to use it. Wow. But if you have the tree crew out, you might as well put them to work. So let's get her done just as fast as we can. Again, we'll widen things out later. We just need to be able to get a train through here. Okay, I'm going to trust that it cut that one down because it didn't hang out long enough to see it actually go. But we'll wing it. If there's going to be a tree that we missed, it's going to be that one. Not going to be a wide corridor to get the train through, but we just need to be able to get it through. Again, one of those, we'll widen it out as we're on the train. Wow. More flowers. Like nowadays, you never know. Like, did they go back and put ants and mushrooms on anything else, or are they just on Aurora Falls? Haven't seen them anywhere else. Also, fish. Don't think we got any fish moved over to Pine Valley, unfortunately. No, a lot of people would like to see a Pine Valley 2.0 that has like more features, bigger version. Do have to say I like the mountain terrain for the narrow gauge trains myself, so I would not be sad. It would also be cool just to see this map updated with like the more of a mixed tree. Now that we have some different pine trees, not saying that it needs to be a whole mixed forest. It can just be different kinds of pine trees, but that part I would like. That'd be cool. Put some new plants in here. Alright, and of course, now that we are finishing up building, there comes the storm. Seems like for all we get a storm at almost the end of everything we're doing with it set on this, but alright, we will get rid of you. You're just too close. Too close, too close. Looks like we got all the rest. I think all of these are gonna go too. I'd rather put train stuff in here. Of course, this doesn't need to be done right now, but then it was right in front of us. So there we go. Pressed it. Cool. Now looking very train-like. These will all have to go too, just to keep up appearances, if nothing else. The trains moving in and tree roots are just a pain. So out, 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 out you go. Alright, gone. There we go. That should give us a run through at least on this side. Where are we at with the switch? There we are. Sweet. Flip? Go ahead. There you go. Anytime. Alright. We will fly. Wow. Right into the lightning. Jeeves. Jesus. Okay, we have brought the train down from the mountain, so we have a couple. What do we actually need? What are we gonna bring over there? I'm pretty sure it's lumber, right? We're gonna be down. Wait a minute. Where do we go? Alright. This is where we want to be. That's lumber out there, right? Oh man, no, I don't want to be right. It's lumber out there, I'm pretty sure. Why does the map look like it's... Oh, because they've flipped everything around. Right, so that's gotta be the... It's gotta be lumber. It's a horrible... Right, that's horrible. Alright. We need... Ironworks. That's where we need to go. That's the problem. Now it looks better. Alright, so it's gotta be lumber. Because that's lumber and that's beams. So lumber it is. And then how much is it? That's the whoops. How much is it? We want to go there. We need 50. Alright, so we can't take 10 cars anyway. So we could probably buy 4 more of these cars. 2 more. If we buy 2 more, we can probably get them up the hill still. Although if we buy 4, we just run 2 different stacks. So let's do that. Gonna lose the cursor or what? No, we're gonna keep the cursor. Cool. Customize. We want number probably 5 to start. These would just say here 2 paint. They're already all red, I'm sure. Quantity will go with 4. That's $1,000 out the window. That's fine. They'll probably pay for themselves sometime soon-ish. Whoa. Grab the wheel and turn off the brake. Don't look left. And then if nothing else, you know, we get a bigger loco. Maybe we'll be able to run them up the hill. I really don't think they're going to be able to run. There's no way it's going to take off. It might take them up to 3% though. I mean, maybe up to the mine. Maybe up to the mine. Definitely not down for raw iron in that. That's for sure. But We needed more of them. And we need a bigger locomotive, and we need to be able to deliver some bigger loads. There's that great, the car don't want to move when you hit it thing. That will cause you to derail, especially the first time you pick up cars. You gotta watch it. It's like it takes it a second sometimes to decide that the brake is off. We do need to throw some coal in this thing. Let's go ahead and do that before we get too crazy. We'll throw 2 in there. No point in wasting a lot. Journey probably won't take that long once we get going, especially this locomotive pretty fast. And on the way down here, even on the flat stuff, we're doing 30 miles an hour. So loco definitely capable of moving along. So we will be keeping this one for like our flat ground stuff, if nothing else. We just are going to need a mountain beast to get up the 6% grade. Always open to suggestions there. I know the class 125 is like where I'd like to be, but that's not happening for way too long. That's the one thing with the big locos. They are definitely, you know, much further into the game. End game stuff. They're not just for snatching up too early, that's for sure. They did not make them easy to get to. I mean, you can always bump along your XP and your money, but as far as if you're going to try to just do it naturally running loads, definitely it takes a lot to get to those locomotives. And I know there are plenty of people out there where the debate is out about the 266 whether it's worth the grind and or the effort at all or not. So maybe we'll turn around and do some XP and cash bumping on this one just to try to get more up there and see about running one. Alright, now we're at least getting a decent sized load behind the train here. We'll have 8 on, 648. We should be able to deliver that. And get it all in there. Is the hope. We could always start taking stuff to the depot, but try to just not do that. So at least this gives us a few more stops, though it doesn't continue to keep going because we're going to have to get the coal in there to get something out of there. So coal is definitely going to be an upcoming target for us. But that is a little longer of a build. So we'll be ready for it. Can't hear the whistle back here. There you go. Chugging a life and doing just fine. Probably not looking this up that hill though. I don't know. Maybe the 3% I could take it up. This may do. Yeah, this probably could go up to 3% maybe. We'll have to give it a shot. Alright, we're gonna crank down on this. And let it blast along. Yeah, so much faster empty. Much faster empty. Yeah, well, that's crazy. Huh. There, it's slowing down. Get that on the main. We don't need to be jumping on the side for nothing. This is probably just going to be a future spot for, you know, locomotive water, maybe something like that. We might lengthen it out too, who knows. And there we go, picking up some speed now somehow for some reason through there. Go figure that. All along, we are just going to trust in the fact that we got all the trees. Let it go. If it stacks up, it's going to be a pain, but we're going to go for it. Not a super wide path there, but I think we're going to get through. Visibility on this. Whoa. I think we got the crouch now. Not bad. It's actually not horrible. That's not good, but that's not horrible. You can see her right out of this loco. Not too bad. Baby handles like she's on rails. Oh, it's doing its thing. Doing its thing. So you know what? I always look for, well, it's with water in the ground when it rains. Cruising along, nice little run on this one. You do definitely get to open it up. Just let the train run. I'm kind of shocked that that's all the faster it's going. I mean, we pulled the brakes on everything as far as I know. So, kind of surprised. Not sure what that is. I figured it would be much faster here than that. Well, we're picking up. Maybe it's just me. Operator malfunction, not getting the most out of the train, that's for sure. Alright, we'll chop that. Flying through just fine. Everything is working. Good. Alright, I'll take it. Not bad. Whoa. Alright, get that. We do have to clear away a few more trees at the dock. Suppose we could take a look at our money while we do this. Just so that we can verify that we're totally not going to get back our $1,000 that we spent in rolling stock anywhere near anytime soon, or from filling this industry at any rate. It's not going to be too much of a loss though, so by running, you know, if we use the cars anywhere else, they'll have paid off. If it would have been 100, then they'd pay off. But at 50, this should just about do it though. Whoa, wrong button. Alright, we'll get those off. Mash the brake. Oh, we're about to end up, don't. We're about to derail the train. Actually, keep backing that up. About to derail up there, I bet you, because I'm sure that doesn't go anywhere. I can't think that we would, why would I have connected that? We're not using it. Not yet. Yeah, for sure. Woo, that was close. So that was close to a cleanup. So there's one more thing we got to do quick. Slap that in. Plop that. We can get rid of that. And I'm sure we have the same problem on this side. So for safety reasons, we will solve that. Cool. Alright. Back to flight. That takes care of that. That is a heck of a stack of wood. It's kind of too bad that you can't stack up a bit more behind it. Extended industry holding would kind of be nice, but 2 to go there. And then we're full. Again, the money came out, so we're down a couple $100, but we did double our tier 2 rolling stock and now have a little decent sized train there. So can we run it up the hill? That I don't know yet. We'll have to see if we can get that done. If we can, it will certainly make filling the mine much better, and then we'd have a good reason to run out further. Otherwise, we have to look at upgrading the loco for a hill climber or something like that. But I think with that, we are going to call it a win. Say thanks for tuning in. Remember, if you get a chance, like, share, subscribe. Subscriptions are free, but they sure do help the channel. Y'all have a great day.